Hey everybody, this is Joel Nanikowski from Hettinger Public School. Thanks for tuning in to Hawk Talk today. I'm sitting here with Randy Burwick. He is our wrestling coach, has been our football coach for many a year, been a teacher here at Hettinger Public School. How long you been here at Hettinger Public School?
Joel, this is my 34th year.
Wow.
Yep. It's been a good run.
That's awesome. And you know, I got you here after the wrestling classic here, and I thought it'd be a really, really cool kind of review over how things went, a little bit of the history on it that I didn't know. I thought was really, really interesting, and kind of want to just go into everything. So how did the year go? How did this year's classic go?
You know, other than a couple glitches with track wrestling, which is really out of our control, you know, we run our program off of a big nationwide track wrestling system. And, you know, we had a couple glitches with that. But other than that, I thought it went fantastic. I thought it was a great tournament, good competition. You know, the kids wrestled well. A lot of kids in town. Pretty much one of our biggest tournaments that we've ever had as far as numbers go, you know, and so it was, overall, I thought it was really, really, really good.
Now you were talking about numbers, like I think you and I were talking a little earlier, we were just at about that 300 wrestler mark.
Yep. We were pretty close to 300 competitors, both for boys and girls. So that's amazing.
That is amazing.
And for us to be able to do it here at Hettinger High School, you know, we made it work. Coach Kohler had some great ideas, and first off, one of the things I'm going to do is I want to thank you right away for getting all your electronic match systems set up for us, where people could watch online, and they could take in the tournament at home. I had one of my old buddies, Russ Worth from Bowman High School, and Russ and I coached against each other for a long time.
Okay.
Russell is now retired, but he was sent me a photo. I guess it was on Facebook. He was sitting in front of his computer and had all the matches up, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm taking in the Hettinger Classic. Great competition, you know, it was awesome." So thank you for doing that. That's vitally important, especially when you can't get to the competition itself.
Absolutely, especially too when you got so many people who are not from the area. Because I mean, what was the furthest place that you had?
Well, Moorcroft, Wyoming comes, which is about 4 hours southwest. So they come from a long distance. Glendive, Montana comes from a long distance. You know, Spearfish is fairly close. Sturgis, South Dakota. So we do get people that travel quite a ways. And so, it's important for them to be able to watch the kids compete, because they don't want to go to the tournament, or that's a long drive to the tournament. So they're like, well, my grandson is wrestling, or you know, one of the family friends are wrestling. So instead of making the trip, now we get the opportunity to watch it live, and we don't have to do that. And that's so important. And once again, I'd just like to thank you for getting all that done for us.
Absolutely. It was absolutely our pleasure. Things turned out really well. So going back to the wrestler numbers, you know, you're saying you're near that 300. Last time I talked to you, you said a big part of that was the new girls division.
Yeah. Well, you know, we've had the girls division for a couple of years, and last year, basically what we did was we over doubled our girls competitors this year. I do believe we had like 51 girls competitors, which I think a year ago we had 21. So an increase by 30 girls. That is awesome. The boys competition was definite increase in our boys competition also. And so overall, it was a fantastic tournament. We had a great turnout. It was great weather.
Yes,
that always makes a difference, to be able to get people to the arena so that they can watch. You know, so all in all, you know, the people that work the tournament, all our workers, our tournament workers, we just want to thank them. I want to thank them personally, you know, for spending their days, you know, a couple days, you know, sitting in a gym. It gets pretty warm, but thanks for all the help. You guys are second to none. I can tell you that right now. And overall, you know, it was a great competition. You know, Sturgis, South Dakota is one of the top South Dakota teams for a reason, because they are really, really good. And they won the tournament, which, Coach Kessler and Coach Abel down there at Sturgis, South Dakota, they just love it. They used to go to the Bismarck Rotary, and they said, absolutely not. We'll never go back to the Rotary. We're going to continue to wrestle at the Hettinger Classic. And
wow,
it's great competition for them.
That's
and they
great.
they absolutely love the format. You know, we do run a different type of format than most tournaments. We run a round robin and then a bracketed tournament. So it is a different type of format that's not normally run at tournaments. Tournaments usually run just a straight bracketed tournament where you get 16 kids in a bracket. You put them all in a bracket and you wrestle the bracket out. We don't do that. We put 12 kids, 2 6-man pools, everybody round robins in there, and then we come back to our bracketed tournament, and then everybody wrestles out to 8th place in that.
So people get a lot of wrestling.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can wrestle as many as 7 matches in a weekend, and a typical bracketed tournament. If you're one of those kids that has the opportunity to compete, and maybe you're not at that top tier level. You might run into a top tier kid right away, and then you lose, and then you lose again, and then you're out of the tournament. So now you've wrestled twice.
Yep.
It's all about getting opportunities, getting chances to improve your skills. And when you wrestle, that's how you really improve your skills.
Is by doing it, getting in there.
Yeah, it's no different than anything else, So getting the opportunity to do that is vitally important.
So kind of finishing up kind of the review of the Classic, what results were we seeing from our Hettinger Scranton co-op kiddos? How'd they do?
Yeah, they did awesome. We, as far as team-wise, we finished 4th overall out of 18 schools, which, we definitely felt like we were maybe we could have been a top 3 team, but, we were right there. Take a trophy home. That's always important for your kids, to get that trophy and stuff like that. Individually, if we go down the lineup at 113, Riley Hasbrook had a really fantastic tournament. I believe Riley went 6-1 in the tournament, finished 3rd place at 113. 120, Kyler Shaleski finished in 4th place, had a really good tournament for us also. He's really coming on. At 145, Jaron Frank was 4th. We defaulted in our 3rd and 4th place match. We kind of got dinged up there a little bit. Lost a tight semifinal match to the number 2 kid in Class A from Watford City and Ethan Dennis. We lost a tight 10-9 match there in the semifinals, and then we came back and wrestled the returning state champ from Miles City for 3rd and 4th, and it was a heck of a battle. And then, we ended up getting kind of taking something to the head, and I just decided, well, that's enough. So we got a 4th place. Devin Greff wrestled a really, really nice tournament for us. Devin ended up in 3rd place at 152. And then we had Tanner Blackwell, who also wrestled in the varsity division. Tanner ended up not placing in the varsity division, so we got him into the second chance tournament. He won a couple 2 matches in that second chance tournament for us also. And then at 182 were our 2 finalists there, 182 and 195. 182, Tristan Picas finished runner-up. One thing about Tristan that I'm going to throw out there as far as his Hettinger Classics coming to an end, Tristan Picas has made the finals of the Hettinger Classic 5 straight years.
Oh, wow.
And one of the things about Tristan in that process and in that time, he's pinned his way to the championship in all those years also.
That's not easy to do.
No, and he's a 4-time champion of our tournament, which is great. But he ended up wrestling the young man out of Sturgis, South Dakota, and Reese Jacobs. And Reese is a 2-time defending champion out of Sturgis. We lost a tough match there. We a major decision, but wrestled him really, really tight. It was a good match. And then at 195, Nick Anderson, who is really starting to come into his own. Nick ended up making the championship match. Nick ended up 2nd, lost a tough decision to a kid that was 3rd in the state of Montana last year, in this Jaden Gibson out of Miles City. So Nick ended up 2nd, and Bowden Hasbrook ended up 4th at 220 on his first effort back, this season. So that was awesome. Our girls, Jennifer Verdon, really just kind of took care of business like she can. Jennifer's a super talented girl. She's been doing it a long time, and you can see it because she can really wrestle. Jennifer was a champion for us in the girls division, and then Akelia Olson ended up second for us in the girls division. So our girls really put out a great effort also, and so and then in our young kids in the junior varsity. Junior high division did a really good job. Alberto Verdon, Austin Ormiston, Stone Stodheim, Tyler Fitch, Cyrus Roseland, Brody Sott, Burke Vanderpool. Those guys wrestled really, really well. We got some great competition there, and we really made some great improvements. So all in all, for the Nighthawks, we had a really nice weekend, and definitely improved.
That's awesome. That's phenomenal. So kind of going back to, because you were talking about some of the trophies and stuff. If I'm correct, the trophies for the girls division was different than your traditional trophy this year.
Yeah. What's
the deal on that?
Well, they were designed by our assistant coach, Cody Tomac. Cody designed a rose. I don't even know the story behind it.
But it's a rose out of metal, right?
It's a steel rose.
Steel rose.
And then Mr. Buckmeyer, Mac Buckmeyer, in his egg classes, they built the bases and cool. Made them out of oak. They were beautiful awards, and so the champion in the girls division had this. And you got to kind of make it a little unique, right?
Absolutely.
You go to some of these tournaments, and we go to Moorcroft, you go to Killdeer, and the champion gets a belt buckle, those types of things, which are, you can get a trophy and you can put it on but you get something that's really unique. It's kind of a drawing point. And so hats off to Coach Tomac on that aspect of it. He designed that, went out and put together those trophies that way. And cool. And the girls loved them. The girls absolutely loved them. And they were really, really, really nice trophies.
Yeah, I got to see those. Those were, they looked like they were made by a machine. They were so cool looking.
Yeah.
They were very, very cool.
And I think that's going to be a memento that, you can keep for years. I mean, it's a design piece, and so, a lot of times, I know with Kyle's trophies, they collect a lot of dust and then they go in the box, and things like that. But this is a kind of a design piece. You can, it looks good on the end tables and things like that. And
that's cool.
And the girls earned them. I mean, they wrestled really, really well, and it was fun to watch that girls tournament.
That was cool. So that's kind of the summary of how this year went.
Sure.
But when I talked with you last time, I was surprised to find out that the Classic was going on more or less. This tournament was been going on before you were even coaching here. I didn't know that was the fact.
Yep. No. When I came in 1990, 91, the Hettinger tournament, it was set up as a multiple tournament, which was a dual meet tournament. So to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure, and we're going to try and find out how many years prior to me getting here that the Hettinger multiple was in play. Mm-hmm. How many years did we have it prior to 1990, 91? Mm-hmm. And so about the first 10 years, we still maybe it was 8 to 10 years, somewhere in that area, we still ran the typical bracketed dual meet tournament, and it was always awesome. We moved it. I know when we first got here, there was basically 8 teams. We went to 16 teams, and it was just crazy good. And then we started going to the Mandan Lions tournament in in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I loved the format that we were wrestling there. I loved the 6-man pools. I loved the bracketed tournament. I loved that concept of getting kids a lot of matches in a tournament format. Rather, don't get me wrong, I love the dual meet formats, but this was designed for the individual part. And so we did change our format. And years ago I had Danny Engraff designed a program.
Yeah.
And he ran our tournament for years, and Danny did such a wonderful job for us. And we've been running that for a long time. Then we went right to the conventional. I got this from Randy Wilson, which was his straight format. He developed the format this way. And then after that, then Track Wrestling got on board, and then they came up with their own 12-man scramble format. So that's where we're at right now. We run right off of Track Wrestling's 12-man scramble format, and it works awesome. So the history of the Hettinger Classic is unbelievable. I mean, I personally think we're in the 40s as a consecutive tournament run. I know the oldest consecutive tournament run in the state is the Kenmare Invitational, and that was started many, many years ago, and that was started by one of the former Black Devils.
Really?
Bob Owens started. He had coached. He had started coaching in Kenmare, and he started a tournament in Kenmare, and that is the oldest running tournament in the state of North Dakota. And that includes the Hettinger Classic, that includes the Bismarck Rotary, that includes every tournament that's out there. The Kenmare Invitational is the oldest running tournament, but I can tell you right now, I think the Hettinger Classic's got to be right up there in the top 2 or 3 as far as the oldest running tournament in the state of North Dakota.
Wow.
So it's got a lot of tradition, a lot of history, and it's continuing to be phenomenal competition for kids that we get a lot of compliments. It's a long 2 days. We get that. It's a long 2 days, but parents love the tournament. The kids love the tournament, and so the history will continue.
That's awesome. Now, before we wrap up here,
right,
I got one more fun question for you.
Sure.
So then, it was called the Classic. Do you know anything about the history of why the name the Classic was chosen?
Well, we and I can tell you this, because I started taking my teams in the 2000s. I started taking my teams to a lot of Class A tournaments, and so one year we went up, and my former high school coach Hank Pankratz, we got invited to the Dickinson Classic up in Dickinson. And it was funny. My old coach was running the tournament, still doing it paper scoring and hand scoring everything. And I loved the name of it, Dickinson Classic. And I asked Coach Pankratz, I was like, why did you change it? Because when I was in high school, it was called the Dickinson High School Invitational. And he was like, well, it's a classic tournament. It is a classic tournament. And that's resonated with me, and it stuck with me. And I thought, you know what? We're going to change the name to the Hettinger Classic.
Very cool.
Because it's a classic tournament.
Oh,
it is a great, great tournament. Piggyback on that, when we went up there to that Dickinson tournament, that was the year I had kids like Josh Epperly and Jeb Boxrud and Danny Henderson and Brandon Henderson and Nathan Meidinger and all these guys. And we go up to the Dickinson tournament, the Dickinson Classic, and I'll never forget when it was all said and done, who were the champs? The Hettinger Black Devils were the champs of the Dickinson Classic.
Oh, for fun.
And Coach Pankratz, he was all excited about that, and so that was kind of cool, and thus became the Hettinger Classic, and it really kind of changed when we went to the individual side, and it's been that way ever since, and hopefully it'll continue for another 40 years and go from there, but it is a premier high school wrestling tournament. I can tell you that right now.
That's awesome. Well, I wanted to thank you very, very much for coming down and talking with us and sharing, the results, kind of how it all works, and especially the history as well. And then also too, want to thank the listeners for tuning in. And remember that you can not only listen to the Hawk Talk podcast, not only on YouTube, you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can grab this thing, even on the Hettinger Public School website. So thank you again, Randy, for coming on in, and we hope to see you guys again soon.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joel. I appreciate you having me on. It's awesome. Hey, everybody out there, Nighthawk Nation, Nighthawks are alive and well, and we're wrestling our tails off. So thanks for all your support. Appreciate it. Thanks again, Joel.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Bye.